Are you considering moving to Buenos Aires, Argentina? Well, before you make that move, definitely watch this video because today I'm telling you 5 reasons I didn't really like living in Buenos Aires, Argentina. After living in Buenos Aires for 3 years, I can definitely tell you that it was a great place to be an expat. I really did love living there. But of course, like with any location, any country, there's always going to be some issues. And so today I'm letting you know the 5 things that kind of drove me nuts living in Buenos Aires. We did previously do a video, and I will definitely link it down in the description box. But we did positives and negatives. And this video is going to be some negatives. I think they're all new, so this will be completely different. And then I'll probably do another video with only positives because I hate just leaving the negatives out there for everyone to hear when there's definitely tons of positives as well. All right, are you guys ready for me to spill that tea? But before I do, definitely go below, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by my birthday, which is July 1st, and I definitely need your help to hit that target. And also give the video a like because I'm sure you're gonna find some of these things really funny if you've lived in BA and helpful if you're planning on moving there after the pandemic. All right, guys, before we get into this video, I just wanna say if you are an Argentine national, please do not take this personally. Like I said, there are many things that I loved about Argentina, and there were some things that I didn't like, and these are just a few of the things. You might even agree with some of these things. I just don't wanna get a bunch of hate comments. Your country is beautiful. I absolutely love living in Argentina. There are just a few things that I did not like at all, and so I'm going to share those on the video today. There's things about every country that I've visited that I haven't liked, and there's even things about living here in the USA and Texas that I think can be negative as well. So please don't take this video personally. This is just for fun, and it's just to make people aware of some other possibilities before they move to Buenos Aires. All right, now that the disclaimer is out of the way, let's get into the video. All right, guys, I'm gonna hit it hard right out of the gate here. So my first reason is Buenos Aires is the Paris of Latin America. Well, having been to Paris myself, I was expecting something similar to Paris when I arrived in Buenos Aires the first time. And I have to beg to differ with that statement. Yes, a lot of the buildings are beautiful and they were definitely influenced by European architecture. But unfortunately, when you get up close, you can definitely see that the buildings aren't kept up so well and they definitely are in need of a facelift. I also think Buenos Aires is similar to Paris in some of the park and cafe culture. In both Paris and Buenos Aires, you're gonna see people taking their coffee or tea at a cafe and really just enjoying watching the street life. That's a big part of life. And they both also enjoy a good day at the park. So every weekend or every holiday, you're gonna see the parks completely packed with people sitting on the hills, sitting on the grass, really just enjoying their mate and also taking in the people watching. Basically, the bottom line is don't go to Buenos Aires expecting it to look like Paris. The second negative about living in Buenos Aires is dog poop. That's right, guys. Porteños love their dogs, which is awesome. I'm a dog lover too. I have 2 small dogs, but that love for dogs didn't always translate into picking up dog poop. Dog poop was everywhere in Buenos Aires, and that included the wealthy neighborhoods as well. You really have to watch where you're walking on the Buenos Aires sidewalks. You would see it everywhere, including at the park, in front of cafes where people are eating outside, in front of homes. Sorry, I'm not trying to gross you out. I'm just trying to prepare you for reality of living there. After about, I want to say a month of living in Buenos Aires, we decided to buy a toothbrush that was dedicated just to cleaning off dog poop from our shoes when we got back into our apartment. That sounds nuts, but that's how often we would accidentally step in dog poop that we had to buy an entire toothbrush dedicated to just the task of getting it off of our shoes. Now, it might have been worse for us because sometimes we did go in the grass with our pup, but on the weekends and holidays, that grass was full of people. So I don't know, we could not have been the only ones with dog poops on our shoes. So when you move to Buenos Aires or you're visiting, be sure to watch the sidewalk where you're walking so you don't step into a mess. The third negative about living in Buenos Aires was the noise. Guys, I've definitely talked about this on this channel before. The noise was a huge issue for me. I had never lived in such a dense city before, and so that's definitely something you need to know before you're living there. Buenos Aires has a large population and it's very dense. There will be noise at all hours of the day. Now, if you're from a large city, you're probably like, obviously, this is not news to me. But if you're not from a large city and you're not used to that type of city noise, then let this be my warning to you. There will be noise at all hours of the day. This was really one of the hardest transitions for me moving to Buenos Aires, was getting used to the city noise. We did have an apartment that was close to a park because we had 2 dogs and I didn't want to walk several blocks 3 times a day to take them out. So we were a little bit closer to a main street. And our apartment we were renting had very thin windows, which we found out after we moved in. So that was definitely something that I had to deal with, was the noise and just hearing constant noise all day long. So whether it's parties or car horns or traffic noise, people yelling on the street, very old buses, dogs barking, people cheering on football matches, or even porteños protesting their latest government's actions with pots and pans on the balcony. Be prepared for a noisy environment. All right, if you're Argentine and you're still here, then you're not gonna like number 4 at all. But it's my truth, so I'm gonna share it with you guys. And my number 4th negative of living in Buenos Aires was sharing mate. In Argentina, yerba mate is huge. Everyone drinks it. When you're walking through the city, you will definitely see almost everyone carrying a mate cup or a thermos with them to enjoy mate later on in the day. When you're in the parks, everyone will be drinking mate, relaxing. It's probably one of the biggest, most profound customs in Argentina. And yes, I just said that it kind of drove me nuts a little bit. The thing that I'm not a fan of with mate is the sharing of mate. It's not the drinking of mate. It's great, go for it. What I didn't enjoy is the actual sharing part. That's right. Normally, a group will sit down and pass around a mate cup and share it amongst the entire group. It can be family members, it can be a friend group, it can be coworkers in a meeting. In my Spanish class, they were passing around a cup of mate amongst the students. In fact, I would say that it's rare, like it would never happen, that somebody would pour a cup of mate and not offer it to you or to someone sitting next to them. I was offered mate by so many people, friends, teachers, and tour guides. And I think the part that really irks me is not, you can share with one person, but they share with the whole room usually. So if there's 8 people in the room, they will pass it around until everyone gets a sip, and then they'll refill it with water, take a sip, and pass it around to the whole group again. So I'm really sorry, my Argentine friends, but to me, sharing mate is gross. I know it's the Argentine culture and the American culture is completely different. Obviously, I was raised American for 35 years before I went to Argentina. So to me, there's just something that I'm not quite comfortable sharing straws and drinking mate after multiple people. For the final negative about living in Buenos Aires, I think everyone could probably agree, including my Argentine friends out there. And that's gonna be the drivers and some pedestrians. So when I first moved to Argentina, and probably for about a year afterwards, I felt like porteños were very rude. But I think a lot of it had to do with the city is just so dense and there's a lot of people living there. But to me, the pedestrians can be rude on the sidewalks. They don't like to move over and make space for you if they see you coming head on, and they're definitely not afraid to bump you in the shoulder. So that could be super frustrating when I'm trying to walk anywhere really, the pharmacy, the grocery store, anywhere. And if you do get bumped into, don't expect an, oh, sorry, or excuse me, or I didn't see you there. No way. You're probably even gonna get a glare that says, that was your fault. Now, I have talked to some city friends from New York and they've said that's totally normal. That's just the way it is in a big city. But I'm from the South in Texas where we have a lot more space. So it was definitely something for me to get used to when I moved there. It's definitely something I struggled with, but whenever I did get bumped into or I did feel like someone was being rude on the sidewalk to me, I would just take a step back and realize that this is just their culture. It's just the way that they do things there, and it's nothing personal against me. And the drivers are the same way. There's a saying in Buenos Aires, which I think is completely true, and it's that the only things that yield in Buenos Aires are pedestrians. And it's definitely accurate. You will not find a car yielding, you won't find a bicycle yielding. If you're walking, you have to watch out for yourself only, even if the street sign says to go. There's been multiple times where I have a green sign, which means I can walk across the street, and some taxis turning right and cuts me right off. So you really have to be careful before you walk across the streets there. Drivers in Buenos Aires will get inches away from you without even a second thought. I have a little story I'm a little bit embarrassed of, but there was one time I was crossing the street and I think I was having a little bit of a bad day, so that didn't help. But a car got so close to me while I was trying to cross the street one time, and I got so frustrated that I took my fist and slammed it on his trunk when he passed by because I was so frustrated that they had gotten so close to me. And sometimes you just have days like that when you're living in a big city, especially as an expat. You just get frustrated or overwhelmed by the way things work there because you're just not used to it. But those are definitely days when you have to take a step back and just remember you're in a different culture, obviously a different country, and things are just done differently there. So, what might not seem like a big deal to them, getting super close to you, might feel really frustrating for you. But that's really what expat life is all about. It's about taking those intricate little things that make that culture different and trying to adapt to those and assimilate. And that's what makes it so hard at the same time. Now, this is definitely a very one-sided video. Like I said earlier, I don't want you to think I did not like living there because I really truly enjoyed my time there. I definitely want to follow this up later with a positive things about living in Buenos Aires, just so we have both sides of the conversation. So again, if you're Argentine, please don't get mad at this video. This is just my opinion. And there's definitely things I don't like about each country I visit, like everyone, and there's things I don't even like about my own country. So please take this all with a grain of salt. It's just for fun and to let other expats know what they might expect when they move to Buenos Aires. All right, before you guys go, be sure to go below and hit that subscribe button, and also give us a like if you learned something new about living in Argentina. And I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.